I asked my neighbor if she would be willing to accept my money so that she could cook one extra serving of food for me because I don't know how to cook, and don't have much time, but she declined and I got the feeling she thought I was creepy. And I'm just wondering if I was or not. I'm a 31-year-old single guy who lives alone in an apartment complex. I've lived there for 6 years. My neighbor across the hall, a woman around my age or a little younger, I actually don't know her first name but I'll call her Katie, lives across the hall from me diagonally and has for about 2 years. We exchange hellos but aren't friendly, which is how it is with most of my neighbors. So I don't know how to cook, and due to losing one of my part-time gigs, I don't have as much money for takeout anymore. I'm getting really sick of eating cheap fast food or box mac and cheese. I'm gaining weight and I never feel great. This is where Katie comes in. I can always smell her cooking in the hall and it always smells amazing. I know it isn't the other person at our end of our hall cause it's a single old man. I've even complimented it a few times. So I got the idea that I'd offer to give her some money each week to cook a little extra and bring it over to me, or I can pick it up from her, at night. She's cooking anyway and then I'd have varied presumably delicious food. I asked her the next time I saw her and she looked surprised and said she couldn't because she was too busy, which didn't make sense cause she cooks almost every day but okay. The next time I saw her a few days later, I asked her if she was sure and upped the amount I was offering, and she said she was sure and that it was rude to ask me, and that she isn't a housekeeper for hire and I should get a housekeeper if that's what I want. She also called me a stranger even though we have talked in the halls before. Overall she made me feel like a big jerk and really embarrassed for even asking her, and a little mad because she was acting like I was being creepy. I wasn't, trust me, she isn't my type. I think asking her to split cooking wasn't completely outlandish, since she cooks every day anyway and it wouldn't be hard to make a little more. So, am I a jerk? I have tried cooking before and honestly just don't enjoy it. She seems to enjoy cooking. I also explained my situation, that I am hopeless at cooking and trying to save money. I offered her $5 at first per day, $25 per week, and then upped it to $10 which is still cheaper than takeout but more than covers groceries. Commenter 1. No. $25 per week does not cover groceries and it definitely doesn't cover the cost of her time. Private chefs run approximately $40/hour so you're basically asking for free food from a stranger. Also cooking to feed oneself doesn't equate enjoyment. I despise cleaning but I must do it or pay someone a fair wage to do it for me. I'm not asking her to plan special meals or make special trips for me, I just asked if she could expand her regular meals for one more serving. I doubt that costs more than $5/serving. Commenter 2. TA. For one thing, you are a human adult. Learn to cook. There are so many books and videos about this. You talk as though your only options are either takeout or Katie and they're not. You assumed it wasn't the other person cooking because he's a single old man? Single old men eat too, there's no reason he couldn't be cooking? What a weird assumption. When she said she was busy, that was a polite way of saying no. It doesn't matter that she's cooking for herself every day, the socially appropriate thing to do would be to gracefully back off with the offer. Instead, you double down. You weren't asking her to split cooking though, you were asking her to do 100% of the cooking, including planning and buying ingredients. It's one thing to do this when it's your job, because you are paid for your time and so on. You keep saying it's not a big deal because she's cooking anyway, but I think you're overlooking things. What if she doesn't want to cook one night? What if she stays late at work? What if she's sick? Speaking for myself, I wouldn't want that sense of being responsible in some way for your meals, particularly when I don't know you well. Also, you can be creepy even if you're not into someone, you know. Being creepy is about not respecting boundaries, which is exactly what you did when you pushed the issue after she'd already declined. Making sure you told us that she isn't your type makes you sound like a jerk. I've talked to her before and complimented her cooking smells, so I know it's her. I've lived here a long time and so has the old guy and the cooking didn't start till after she moved in. Edit. People keep assuming I'm sexist because I didn't think it was the old man who lives on our hall cooking. It's not an assumption for me. He and I have lived across from each other for 6 years. The cooking smells didn't start till she moved in, and I've talked to her about how good her cooking smells before. Edit. Okay. It is abundantly clear that I was the jerk and asking her was inappropriate and, as much as I hate to admit it, creepy. My instinct is to apologize to her, but since my instinct was to ask her in the first place, I'll do the opposite and stay out of her hair. Thanks. Update. 1 month later. I knew when I saw this thread with my real account that I would be mentioned. That thread was a real wake-up call for me about what a weirdo I was being. I ended up apologizing to my neighbor, whose name I now know, and telling her I didn't realize how inappropriate my question was. She accepted the apology and we still nod and smile in the hallway when we see each other. I will say that I talked to my old man neighbor yesterday and he told me that she left him a tray of fudge over the weekend for the holidays, and I received no such fudge, so I know there is lingering weirdness from my ask. And I totally understand it and do not feel that I deserve fudge. So, Thanks again for everyone for pointing out how weird and entitled I was acting. It did help, even the mean comments, because seeing the strong reactions people had to what I did made me realize there was no wiggle room for me to not be a jerk.